Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Wellness Daily. Today, I want to talk about something tens of millions of people are doing right now, something some of them are afraid of, something others are doing completely wrong, and something almost no one truly understands at the level their body deserves: a 24-hour fast. Before you decide what kind of video this is, let me stop you. This is not a video telling you fasting will save your life, and it is not a video telling you fasting is dangerous. What this is an honest walk through the science, real physiology, organ by organ, hour by hour, because the truth about what happens inside your body when you go 24 hours without food is more intelligent, more organized, and more extraordinary than either side of this debate has ever told you. I have spoken with people genuinely terrified of fasting. They believe their blood sugar will crash. They believe their body will begin consuming muscle. They believe their metabolism will halt and never recover. And I have spoken with others who treat fasting like a competition, pushing further and harder, convinced that more is always better, without understanding what their organs are actually experiencing. Both groups share the same problem. Nobody gave them an honest explanation of the biology. That changes today. Stay with me through this entire video because the information builds on itself, and I promise by the end you will understand your own body in a way most people never will. If Wellness Daily is the kind of honest, science-based content you are looking for, make sure you are subscribed. Now let us begin. The moment you finish your last meal, your body does not switch into fasting mode. Not yet. Biology does not work that way. Biology is gradual, deliberate, and remarkably organized. For the first 4 hours after eating, you are in what is called the fed state. Your body is entirely focused on one thing, processing what you just gave it. The stomach is breaking down food. The small intestine is absorbing nutrients. Blood sugar rises as carbohydrates arrive. The pancreas releases insulin to manage that rise. Insulin at this stage has a single clear job: move glucose into cells, store what is not immediately needed, signal the body that fuel is plentiful. Think of this phase like a city warehouse receiving a massive shipment. Every loading dock is open. Everything is being sorted and distributed. Nobody is thinking about conservation because there is more coming in than going out. Fat burning during this window is essentially switched off. Insulin blocks it completely, and that is not a malfunction. That is the system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Your liver is packing glucose into glycogen. Your muscles are doing the same. Your brain is running comfortably on the incoming supply. Everything is in receiving mode. You may have stopped eating an hour ago, but physiologically, your body has not even registered that yet. Around the 4-hour mark, something begins to shift. Digestion winds down. Incoming nutrients slow. Blood sugar levels off. Insulin begins its first gentle decline. And ghrelin, the hunger hormone, begins to rise. Now here is something most people have completely backwards about hunger. Ghrelin does not build and build until it becomes unbearable. It rises in waves, rhythmic, predictable waves shaped almost entirely by the eating habits you have trained your body into. If you have eaten every 4 hours for years, your body expects food at 4 hours, and ghrelin rises on schedule. It is not telling you that you are starving. It is asking a question. Are we eating now? If the answer is no, ghrelin falls back within an hour. The wave passes. The body accepts the answer and prepares for the next phase. That first hunger signal is not an emergency. It is a habit, and habits can be retrained. As you move past 6 and toward 8 hours, the shift becomes more noticeable. Insulin continues falling. Glucagon, the hormone that opposes insulin, begins rising to take its place. This handover is one of the most elegant events in human physiology. Where insulin says store, glucagon says release. Where insulin says build, glucagon says access. And it happens automatically, without any effort from you, simply because you stopped putting food in. The gut during this window gets something it almost never receives in a modern lifestyle: rest. Without constant incoming food to process, the digestive tract slows its mechanical activity. Inflammation in the gut lining begins to quiet. The gut is not shutting down, it is recovering, doing what any system does when the workload briefly lifts. It heals itself. If you are still with me right now, go ahead and comment below. It tells us at Wellness Daily how many of you are committed to understanding your health at this level. As you pass 8 hours and approach the 10 to 12 hour mark, something genuinely significant begins to happen. Fasting stops being passive and starts becoming active. The liver's glycogen reserves are being drawn down meaningfully now. The body can sense this clearly. Insulin has dropped further. Glucagon has risen further. And now a critical pathway called AMPK, the cellular energy sensor, begins to activate. Think of AMPK as the body's internal accountant. When energy is flowing in steadily, the accountant has nothing to do. But when the balance starts falling, the accountant wakes up and opens the books. Spend less, recycle more, find alternative sources, become efficient. AMPK does not just signal fat burning, it coordinates mitochondrial function, it reduces inflammation at the cellular level. It activates cleanup systems inside your cells that never get touched when insulin is constantly elevated. People who eat from morning to night, who never allow insulin to fall long enough, never access these deeper repair systems. The accountant never gets called in because the books never show a need. Around the 10 to 12 hour mark, hunger peaks again. Ghrelin rises for a second time. And this is the moment that separates people who understand fasting from people who fear it. Most people feel that second wave and conclude the body is entering crisis mode. It is not. It is another check-in. The same question asked again. Are we eating now? If the answer is no, ghrelin falls back within an hour. Hunger does not keep climbing towards some unbearable peak. It moves in waves, and every single wave passes. That is one of the most freeing things a person can learn about their own biology. Meanwhile, the liver is working harder to maintain stable blood sugar through gluconeogenesis. It is manufacturing glucose from non-sugar sources, from glycerol released by fat tissue, from certain amino acids, from lactate produced by muscles. Your brain continues receiving a steady fuel supply without a single bite of food being consumed. This is not the body struggling. This is the body demonstrating metabolic intelligence that took millions of years to develop. As we cross into the 12 to 16 hour window, fasting transforms from a metabolic pause into a full metabolic shift. By 12 hours, liver glycogen is largely depleted. The refrigerator is essentially empty. The body now opens the freezer. It turns to actual fat stores, adipose tissue, the reserves held in long-term storage, hormone-sensitive lipase, an enzyme that unlocks fat cells and releases fatty acids into circulation, becomes significantly more active as insulin continues to fall. This is the literal biochemical moment when meaningful fat burning begins. As fatty acids reach the liver converts them into ketones. And here is something most people have never been told about ketones. They are not simply a backup fuel. They are signaling molecules. They communicate with the brain, with muscle tissue, with the immune system. They carry a message that says the body has entered a stable, internally powered, efficient state. One of the things ketones signal directly is appetite suppression. This is why many people notice that hunger fades quietly after the 14 or 15 hour mark. They expected it to get worse. Instead, it softens. That is not willpower. That is ketone chemistry doing exactly what it was designed to do. Growth hormone rises substantially during this phase, and this speaks directly to the fear that fasting wastes muscle. Growth hormone is one of the most powerful muscle-preserving signals in the human body. It tells tissues to hold lean mass while directing the body to burn fat for fuel instead. Research consistently shows growth hormone rising significantly during fasting windows of this length. In some studies, levels rise several times above baseline. Your body is actively protecting your muscle while burning your fat. That is not a compromise. That is intelligent biology working in your favor. Insulin sensitivity also improves meaningfully here. Cells that have been chronically flooded with insulin start responding more efficiently to smaller amounts of it. Receptors worn down from constant stimulation begin resetting. This improvement begins before any significant weight loss occurs. The cellular shift comes first. The visible change follows. This is why people often say they feel better before they look different. The biology moves first, and the body catches up. As we move into the 16 to 24 hour window, the body enters what I would call metabolic independence. It is no longer waiting for food. It has fully committed to running on internal reserves with remarkable calm and efficiency. By 16 hours, Insulin is at its lowest point since your last meal. Fat oxidation is now the dominant fuel process in muscle tissue. Ketone levels have risen to where they contribute meaningfully to brain function. The brain is no longer riding the blood sugar roller coaster. It is receiving a stable, clean supply of energy from ketones and from the liver's controlled glucose output. This is why so many people report unusual mental clarity and steady focus during extended fasting. It is not psychological, it is neurological. Ketones stabilize neuronal activity. They produce fewer reactive oxygen species than glucose during combustion, meaning less oxidative stress on brain cells. The nervous system becomes quieter, less reactive, more settled. And for people who live in a state of constant mental noise driven by blood sugar swings, that quietness feels almost unfamiliar at first. Autophagy, the body's cellular recycling process, accelerates meaningfully during this phase. Old, damaged proteins are being tagged and broken down. Dysfunctional mitochondria are being cleared through a process called mitophagy. Think of this as the body finally having the hormonal permission to clear out debris that has been accumulating inside your cells. Every time insulin is high, this cleanup is suppressed. Every time insulin falls long enough, the cleanup crew finally gets to work. By 18 hours, fat oxidation is running at a high and steady rate. Visceral fat, that deep internal fat wrapped around your organs, has become a preferred fuel source. And this matters more than most people realize. Visceral fat is not passive stored energy. It is metabolically active tissue. It releases inflammatory molecules. It disrupts insulin signaling. It raises cardiovascular risk. It is the most dangerous fat the body carries. And it is uniquely responsive to the hormonal environment that fasting creates. When insulin is low and fat oxidation is high, visceral fat becomes metabolically exposed. The body addresses it first. This is why people who fast consistently often notice their waistline shifting before the scale changes dramatically. The most dangerous fat is being targeted first. That is intelligent biology protecting you. The liver at this stage is doing the most complex work of any organ, simultaneously managing gluconeogenesis to keep the brain supplied, producing ketones, burning its own stored fat, recalibrating its insulin sensitivity, reducing its inflammatory output. For anyone carrying fat in their liver, which is now one of the most common metabolic conditions we see, this phase is genuinely therapeutic. The liver is healing itself through mechanisms that no medication currently available can replicate with the same safety or the same elegance. The gut lining has had extended time to strengthen. Tight junctions between gut cells become more intact. Intestinal permeability decreases. Less bacterial endotoxin crosses into the bloodstream. When endotoxin falls, systemic inflammation falls with it. When systemic inflammation falls, insulin sensitivity improves throughout the entire body. It is a cascade of benefit that begins in the gut and ripples outward to every system. Now, before I close, let me give you the perspective that matters most. The question most people ask is, what happens to my body if I fast for 24 hours? But the more important question is, what does this tell us about how we were designed to live? The answer is humbling. The human body does not handle a 24-hour fast with crisis. It handles it with coordination. Every organ plays a role. Every hormone follows a sequence. Every system transitions with precision. This is not accidental biology. This is architecture. Where periods of eating were naturally followed by periods of not eating, the body did not develop these fasting systems as emergency backup plans. It developed them as core features of normal metabolic life. What is abnormal, from a purely biological standpoint, is what we do today. Eating from the moment we wake until the moment we sleep, keeping insulin elevated 16, 17, 18 hours every single day, never allowing the repair systems to activate, never giving the gut time to recover. We have built a metabolic environment that is profoundly foreign to human biology, and we are seeing the consequences in epidemic rates of insulin resistance, fatty liver, visceral fat, and chronic inflammation. Fasting is not a cure for all of that. I want to be direct with you. Fasting is a tool, a powerful one, when used with understanding and respect, but it works best as part of something larger: whole food eating, removing sugar and refined carbohydrates, consistent sleep, regular movement, Fasting amplifies those habits. It does not replace them. But when used wisely, the cumulative results over months and years are genuinely remarkable. Visceral fat recedes, the liver heals, insulin sensitivity returns, inflammation quiets, the brain clears, energy becomes stable instead of erratic, and the body remembers what it was designed to do. Your organs do not need to be forced to heal. They need to be given permission. A 24-hour fast, done thoughtfully with proper hydration and a careful approach to breaking the fast, is one of the most powerful ways to give them exactly that. Not because fasting is magic, but because it removes the obstacles that modern life constantly places in front of your body's own extraordinary capacity for repair. If you stayed through this entire video, that tells me something about you. It means you take your health seriously enough to understand it. Go ahead right now and leave a comment telling me the single thing from today that changed how you think about your own body. I genuinely want to read it. And if this kind of science-first content is what you have been looking for, subscribe to Wellness Daily and share this video with someone who needs it, not tomorrow, right now. Someone in your life is making decisions about fasting based on fear or bad information. You can change that for them today. This was Wellness Daily. Take care of yourself, and we will see you in the next one.